Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about most important topic of ischemic heart disease, that is myocardial infarction. It is also known as heart attack. It is a death of cardiac muscle due to ischemia. It is the most important and fear consequences of coronary artery disease. Many patients may die within the first few hours of onset, while remainder suffer from effects of impaired cardiac function. Development of collateral circulation prevents or diminishes the myocardial damage. Regular and well-planned exercise program encourage good collateral circulation and improve cardiac performance. Incidence, MI, acute MI may occur at all ages, though the incidence is higher in elderly, and men are at a significantly greater risk than the women. 10% of myocardial infarct occur in the people under the age of 40 and 45% occur in the people under the age of 65. Black and whites are equally affected. Sequence of events. First, that is a sudden change in the morphology of plaque, that is atherosclerotic plaque. That is a disruption, either rupture, erosion, hemorrhage, or fissuring. Because of these, there is a subendothelial exposed collagen is there, and the necrotic plaque content, which causes platelet adhesion, aggregation, activation, and release of potent aggregators, which leads to microthrombi formation. Because of these thrombi, there is a vasospasm, and because of this thrombus, there is a partial or complete occlusion of the lumen. Because of this vasospasm, there is an activation of extrinsic pathway of coagulation. Now coming to etiopathogenesis. Severe coronary atherosclerosis, more than 75% block of the lumen of one or more of the major coronary arterial trunk in about 90% cases of acute MI. Coronary arterial obstruction compromises the blood supply to the region of myocardium, causing ischemia, myocardial dysfunction, and potentially death of myocytes. The anatomic region supplied by the artery is referred to as the area at risk, and causes like coronary artery disease and shock, which leads to diminished coronary blood flow, increased myocardial demand such as in exercise and in emotions. Because of hypertension and valvular heart disease, there is a hypertrophy of heart without simultaneous increase in the coronary blood flow. Second, that is the role of platelet. Already we have seen that is if there is a rupture of atherosclerotic plaque which exposes the subendothelial collagen for platelets, which undergo the changes like aggregation, activation, and release reaction. These events build up of the platelet mass that may give rise to emboli or initiate thrombosis. Acute plaque rupture is the most common cause. Other causes like coronary vasospasm with or without coronary atherosclerosis, emboli from left atrium in association with atrial fibrillation, a left-sided mural thrombus, vegetation of infective endocarditis, intracardiac prosthetic material, or paradoxical emboli. There are some causes of ischemia without detectable coronary atherosclerosis and thrombosis, like disorder of small intramural coronary vessels like vasculitis, some hematological abnormalities such as which is seen in sickle cell disease, or amyloid deposition. Now coming to early biochemical consequences of myocardial ischemia. First, you will find a reversible changes in the form of, first, that is a cessation of aerobic glycolysis and initiation of anaerobic glycolysis within seconds, inadequate production of phosphates and accumulation of lactic acid, loss of contractility within the 60 seconds of onset of ischemia. If this ischemia lasting for at least 20 to 40 minutes or longer, then it leads to irreversible cell injury. And if it is lasting for more than 1 hour, then it leads to microvascular injury. Now coming to types of infarct, it is it depends on the according to the anatomic region of the left ventricle, like anterior, posterior, lateral, septal or circumferential, or in combination like anterolateral infarct, posterolateral or anteroseptal. This is based on an anatomic region of the left ventricle which it involves. Second, that is according to the degree of thickness of the ventricular wall. It is divided either full thickness, it is known as transmural infarct, and it involves the entire thickness of ventricular wall, or subendocardial or laminar infarct, which involves the inner subendocardial half of the myocardium. According to the age of infarct, either it is a nulliform infarct, which is also known as acute, recent or fresh infarct, or advanced infarct, that is old, healed or organized. Now coming to some differentiating point, transmural infarct involves the entire thickness of the ventricular wall, while subendocardial infarct occupy the inner subendocardial half of the myocardium. It is often referred to as ST elevation infarct, while subendocardial infarct is known as non-ST elevation infarct. This is generally due to a combination of chronic coronary atherosclerosis, acute plaque changes, and superimposed thrombosis. While this is due, this subendocardial infarct, it is due to a plaque disruption followed by coronary thrombus that becomes lies before myocardial necrosis extends across the full thickness of the wall. Now, same here, the pathogenesis is more than 75% coronary stenosis that leads to transmural, while hypoperfusion of myocardium leads to subendocardial infarct. Coronary thrombosis and epicarditis are the most commonly seen in transmural infarct. Now coming to location of infarct, most frequently located in the left ventricle. Right ventricle is less susceptible to the infarction due to its thin wall, having less metabolic requirement. Atrial infarct are more often in the right atrium, which is usually accompanying the infarct of the left ventricle. Left atrium is relatively protected from infarction because it is supplied by oxygenated blood in the left atrial chamber. Now this diagram show, this is pulmonary artery, aorta, inferior vena cava. Here you will see a left coronary artery. Here you will find a right coronary artery. This left coronary artery divides into LAD, that is a left anterior descending artery. This red color course is a left anterior descending artery, and this one show this is a left circumflex artery. This LAD supplies the blood to the front and bottom of the left ventricle and the front of the interventricular septum, while LCA supplies the blood to the left atrium and the side and back of the left ventricle. This right coronary supplies the blood to the right atrium, right ventricle, bottom portion of the left ventricle and back of the interventricular septum. The most common cause of MI is due to 40 to 50% MI is due to stenosis of LAD, and the region of infarct which supply it, that is anterior part of the left ventricle, including apex and anterior 2/3 of the interventricular septum. Second most frequent cause of MI, 30 to 40%, it is due to stenosis of the right coronary artery, and it involves the posterior part of the left ventricle and posterior third of the interventricular septum. The least frequently 15 to 20% is due to stenosis of the left circumflex coronary artery and the area involved, that is a lateral wall of the left ventricle. The right and left coronary arteries function as end arteries. The coronary artery, either the RCA or the LCX, that perfuses the posterior third of the septum is called dominant. In the right dominant circulation, which is present in 4/5 of individuals, the LCX perfuses only the lateral wall of the left ventricle, and the RCA supplies the entire right ventricular free wall, posterobasal wall of the left ventricle, and the posterior third of the ventricular septum. Thus, the occlusion of RCA can cause left ventricular damage. Now, this is the right coronary, left coronary. Here, A point, that is the left coronary artery. If this artery is involved by atherosclerosis, severe atherosclerosis, so the infarction will be seen in this whole region. While if it is this branch is involved, that is a branch of left anterior descending artery, then this only this portion is involved. Now coming to morphology, the gross and microscopic changes in the myocardial infarction vary according to the age of infarct. Grossly, most infarcts occur singly or vary in size from the 4 to 10 centimeter. Most often in the left ventricle. Less often there are multifocal lesions. The transmural infarct usually have a thin rim of preserved subendocardial myocardium, which is perfused directly by the blood in the ventricular chamber. The subendocardial infarct produces less well-defined gross changes than the transmural infarct. This is the left ventricle. Here you will see this is the infarct area when there is a slice of section taken from the left ventricle. This is subendocardial infarct. This portion shows subendocardial infarction. This is right ventricle. This is left ventricle showing infarction. Now coming to the sequences of macroscopic changes. 6 to 12 hour old infarct, there is no striking gross changes except the affected myocardium is slightly paler and drier than the normal. In the early infarct, 3 to 6 hour old, it is detected by histochemical staining for dehydrogenase on unfixed slice of the heart. Tissue slices are emerged in the solution of TTC, that is a triphenyl tetrazolium chloride. Remember these, and this NBT dye. Non-infarcted intact myocardium is brick red in color. It is due to preservation of dehydrogenase enzyme. While infarct portion, unstained pale zone is there. The old scar infarct appears white and glistening. If this NBT dye is used, then unaffected myocardium is blue in color, while infarcted myocardium is unstained. If it is a duration of 24 hours, then infarct develops cyanotic, red-purple, blotchy area of hemorrhage due to stagnation of blood. Next 48 to 72 hours, the infarct develops as a yellow border due to neutrophilic infiltration, and it is more well defined. In 3 to 7 days, a hyperemic border and the center is yellow and soft. By the 10 days of infarct, the periphery of the infarct appears reddish purple due to growth of granulation tissue. With time, further healing takes place and this necrotic muscle is resorbed and infarct shrinks and becomes pale grey. By the end of 6 weeks, the infarcted area is replaced by thin grey-white, hard, shrunken fibrous scar, which is well developed in about 2 to 3 months. These slides show morphological changes in myocardial infarction. Like in half hour to up to 4 hours, there is no changes will be there. 4 to 12 hour, you will find occasional dark mottling. 12 to 24 hour, dark mottling will be seen. 1 to 3 hour, mottling with yellow tan infarct center. 3 to 7 days, hyperemic border. Central yellow tan softening area will be seen. 7 to 10 days, maximally yellow tan and soft with depressed red tan margins will be there. 10 to 14 days, red gray depressed infarct border will be there. 2 to 8 week gray white scar progressing from the border toward core of infarct, and more than 2 months there is a scar is completed. This is here you will find this is the acute infarct, subacute infarct, while this is a healed infarct. So you will find some hard collagenous glistening area. Now coming to microscopically, the changes are similar in both transmural and subendocardial infarct. Myocardial ischemia induces ischemic coagulative necrosis of the infarct, which heals by fibrosis. Now coming to we will see microscopic changes according to week. In first week, in the first 6 hours after infarction, usually no detectable histological changes will be there. There is only stretching and waviness of the myocardial fibers within an hour of onset of ischemia. After 6 hours, there is appearance of some edema fluid between the myocardial fibers, and the muscle fiber at the margin of infarct show vacuolar degeneration, which is called myocytolysis. By the 12 hour, you will find a coagulative necrosis of the myocardial fibers sets in, and neutrophils begins to appear at the margin of infarct. This is important. Coagulative necrosis of the fibers is characterized by loss of striation and intense eosinophilic hyaline appearance, and may show nuclear changes like karyolysis, pycnosis and karyohexis. Hemorrhage and edema are present in the interstitium. During first 24 hours, coagulative necrosis progressed further and shrunken eosinophilic cytoplasm and pycnosis of nuclei seen. You will find a neutrophilic infiltration at the margin of the infarct, that is a slight. During the first 48 to 72 2 hours, coagulative necrosis is complete with loss of nuclei, and neutrophilic infiltration is well developed and extend centrally into the interstitium. Here you will find this neutrophilic infiltration. So this is a 48-hour duration of infarct. Here high power view show this infarct myocardial fibers is not seen. So there is a coagulative necrosis with neutrophilic infiltration. 3 to 7 days, neutrophils are necrosed and gradually disappears. The process of resorption of necrosed muscle fiber by macrophages begins. Simultaneously, there is an onset of proliferation of capillaries and fibroblasts from the margin of the infarct is seen. Now in second week, by the 10th day of duration, most of the necrosed muscles at the periphery of the infarct is more prominent, and you will find a pigment-laden macrophages. Pigment may be either a lipofuscin or a hemosiderin. This lipofuscin pigment is derived from the breakdown of myocardial cells, and hemosiderin, which is derived from lyse erythrocyte in hemorrhagic areas. Few other inflammatory cells like eosinophil, lymphocytes, plasma cells are also present. By the end of second week, most of the necrosed muscles in the small infarcts is removed, and neutrophils have almost disappeared, and newly laid collagen fibers replace the periphery of the infarct. Now coming to third week of duration of infarct, necrosed muscle fibers from the larger infarct continue to be removed and replaced by ingrowth of newly formed collagen fibers. Pigmented macrophages as well as other mononuclear inflammatory cells like lymphocytes and plasma cells are prominent, while eosinophils gradually disappeared. 4 to 6 weeks of duration you will find a further removal of necrotic tissue, and there is an increase in the collagen connective tissue and decrease in vascularity and fewer pigmented macrophages and inflammatory cells, chronic inflammatory cells. At the end of 6 weeks, a contracted fibrocollagenous scar with diminished vascularity is formed. The pigmented macrophages may persist for a longer duration in the scar and sometimes for years. This chart shows microscopic morphologic changes evolve over time as follows. Like 1 to 3 hour, you will find microscopically wavy fibers. 2 to 3 hour staining defect with TTC or basic fusin dye. 4 to 12 hour coagulative necrosis will be appear with loss of striation, contraction band, edema, hemorrhage and early neutrophilic infiltrate. 18 to 24 hour continuing this coagulative necrosis of the muscle fiber and pycnosis of nuclei and marginal contraction band will be there. 24 to 72 hour total loss of nuclei and striation along with heavy neutrophilic infiltrate. 3 to 7 days macrophage and mononuclear inflammatory cells begins and fibrovascular response begins. 7 week there is a fibrosis is there. This is a microscopic feature of MI. This is a 1 day old infarct. You will find a coagulative necrosis. Here 3 to 4 days old infarct, you will see a neutrophilic infiltration. 7 to 10 days of duration, you will find a phagocytosis. And 3 weeks after infarction, you will find a granulation tissue with reach in vascular network, and dense collagen scar is seen in later after 2 months. Again, gross and microscopic features with a time duration of infarct. Already we have discussed. This table is very much important. This table show time of infarct, gross, light and electron microscopic features also. So remember, try to recollect this information. Now coming to infarct extension. Infarct may expand beyond their original borders over a period of days to weeks via a process of repetitive necrosis of adjacent regions. The causes are retrograde propagation of a thrombus, proximal vasospasm, progressively impaired cardiac contractility that renders the blood through moderate stenosis insufficient, the deposition of platelet fibrin microemboli and arrhythmia that impairs cardiac function. Salvage in early infarcts and reperfusion injury. The ischemic injury to myocardium is reversible if perfusion is restored within the first 30 minutes of onset of infarct. The salvage in early infarct can be achieved by the following intervention like thrombolytic therapy, like streptokinase and tissue plasminogen activator, or PTCA, or stenting or bypass surgery. Now coming to what is ischemic reperfusion injury. Myonecrosis during reperfusion occurs due to rapid influx of calcium ions and generation of toxic oxygen-free radicals. Grossly, the myocardial infarct following reperfusion injury appears hemorrhagic rather than pale. And microscopically, you will find a contraction band in myofibers which are transverse and thick eosinophilic band. Coming to complication of reperfusion like arrhythmia, myocardial hemorrhage with contraction band, irreversible cell damage superimposed on the original ischemic injury. Then there is a no reflow or myocardial stunning. Here you will find a contraction band. Here you will find contraction band. Okay, this HN stain show contraction band. Diagnosis we will see in the next time. Thank you.